What's up, you guys? This is OffTopicGames here with another weekly Saturday tournament finals. So this one is on December 3rd. On our left we have a Gear Chronicle player, and on our right we have a Freezeray Messiah player. So shoutouts to them, congrats for making finals. So what are we expecting to see in this matchup? Freezeray obviously is going to be a huge part of it. Freezeray is a very strong card. What it does is when you take a damage, you lock a card. So it can basically stop your Gear Chronicle combos. Just a good thing to note is that Gear Chronicle, you can lock the Malem, but the Malem will still go off. So yeah, we'll see. So Gear Chronicle went first, Road, and then the Messiah player rode grade 1 Dark Metal Chameleon, and then called a booster behind the grade 0 and swung, which means he's being pretty aggressive here. Didn't hit any triggers, so he guarded it. And now Gear Chronicle player will be maybe riding grade 2. As we saw previously, he did not in order to stride first, but we shall see. So he's currently thinking about it, because I do see a grade 2. Okay, so he does. Swings Vanguard. Don't know if I love it here. You can swing rear guard if you want. The rear guard is pretty good, of course. So you see here that the Link Joker player is going pretty ham on the attacks that he has. So attack rear guard first, attack Vanguard 1, hits the crit, and then swings Vanguard again for a 10k guard. So very hard punish already, and he looks like he may have to get rid of the TikTok. Oh, he takes it. That's fine too. 5 damage before riding to grade 3. This looks pretty difficult for the Gear Chronicle player because of the aggressiveness. He does not ride grade 3. Instead, he calls 2 grade 2s. Or just 1. Attacks rear guard. That's fine. Attacks rear guard again, so you can't breeze. Hits the crit, that's whatever. And then next, you probably ride grade 3 here as the Link Joker player. Yep, so Freezeray gets ridden, that's really, really strong. Calls 2 triggers to be a bit more aggressive. That's also fine. Vanguard attacks to the pass. Okay. Rear guard to rear guard, rear guard to Vanguard. And he has to guard with the TikTok. So Gear Chronicle starts off his stride turn with... He doesn't even have a grade... Oh, okay. He doesn't even have grade 3, which means he has to G assist. Which is very understandable what he did there to the previous turn. Basically called a little bit of field and then swung rear guards. But yeah. So it gets Chronojet G. He already has the Malem and the Stride Fodder, and he pitched History Maker and something else. So it looks like his combos can get started. The only problem is that History Maker is a good card, so yeah. Not History Maker. Freezeray is a very good card. So Stride. Yeah, currently because of the rush, Gear Chronicle player is already at quite a disadvantage. Let's see if he can adapt or change the way he played in order to make up for this game. Of course, it's not yet over, but it did push him in quite a disadvantageous position at the moment. So we'll see what he is going to do to try to get out of it, and then what he might do in the future to change that. So curious about what he's striding into. It's either Huang Long like that or the Metallica Phoenix. Personally, I would have liked Metallica Phoenix more. Currently, he's still thinking about what to do. So it's very possible that he will go into Metallica Phoenix. We shall see. Okay, so that's very interesting. Decides to go into Chronos Command. That's a bit scary. I don't agree with that at all, but you know, you can if you really want to, I guess. So Freezeray goes off. Freezeray locks the TikTok. Malem goes off. Calls the grade 0. Basically, if the Freezeray player locks the Malem, Malem still goes off, and you can still do the combo. So that's why you lock the TikTok. So 31 swing at the Vanguard gets PG'd. Stride into Amnesty. Crit goes off just to put it back to the deck. Calls the Black Dwarf, the grade 2, and the Freezeray Messiah. So that field is very strong. And it's nuts. So the skill goes off, gives +5 to the rear guard, and then +3, and then unflip. That I forgot to unflip, but you know, it's okay. Because it technically it doesn't matter. Oh, I suck. Okay, he just no guarded and died. Yep, so that was game 1, you guys. Sorry, I guess I forgot to note, but I am the player on the right, so I do have a little bit of insight in this game. What I wanted to do here, the reason why I'm rushing so hard is because, again, it's Gear Chronicle. I need to push out enough damage and make him at a disadvantageous position so that he has to try and rely on his combo a bit more. And then I'll try my best to shut it down through Freezeray. And then if he decides to call rear guards beforehand to push back or something, I may also have the alter ego Messiah to just lock his stuff. So yeah, you will see a bunch of attacks early on from me. I will resort to calling triggers to the side, etc., as you've seen before. Because Gear Chronicle is a very strong deck, and you kind of need to play a certain way against Gear Chronicle. So that's what I was doing. What I'd like to see for the Gear Chronicle player on the left is a bit more adaptation to what your opponent's doing. The Chronos command was an interesting play, but I don't really agree with it. Maybe attacking rear guards more so to control out your opponent. It does leave more room for Freezeray, but you do minimize the amount that your opponent has. So anyways, Gear Chronicle player goes second, rides Malem and swings unboosted. That's fine, no guard. I believe here I'm currently grade locked, so it's kind of unfortunate for me. I have to push my way out of it. So 7 at the Vanguard. I really don't like calling that 7k there, but I really wanted to push. So Gear Chronicle player hits the damage trigger, which is very strong, and neuters the lanes. Rides the History Maker. And 2 more grade 2s, so that's pretty nuts. He decides to switch the order, which is whatever. 9 to the Vanguard. Yeah. Hits the draw trigger, which is really broken. Vanguard swing with the rear guard, no pass. And then swing again the rear guard. I really like this rear guard because it's very broken, and it's essential to the combo, so I need it. I decide not to ride because I can swing with the rear guards. 9 to the rear guard, no guard, no guard. 9 to the rear guard, no guard, pass turn. Okay, so that plays around Breeze and forces them to ride first. So that's a play that's good that you should try to do, if possible, because Gear Chronicle player loves to ride second and loves to get his things off. So here, he decides to call a Chronojet. That's interesting. I don't really like this play because although it does make you aggressive a bit more, you are a lot more averse. You're hurt a lot more by the alter ego, right, and just locking the board. So, basically, if you have Freezeray, it's not terrible, but it's still not very good because you still have the option to like lock things, and then because the starter locks something himself, and then if you don't call things, I can't really lock anything as the as the Messiah player. So hits crit, that's pretty broken. Attacking Vanguard isn't one to pass, no guard, because greedy and he hits nothing. So yeah, 16 to the rear guard, no guard. He decides to check which one it is, and he decides to attack Vanguard set and whatever intercepts. It's the same thing. So draws a card. Rides into Alter Ego. So this is where he gets punished. I did not have Freezeray. I do have to stride with 2 cards, which means I didn't have a Grade 3 previously. And yeah, here he gets a bit punished because he didn't. He called rear guards and didn't. Or yeah, he just called rear guards where he shouldn't have. So Flagellate goes off. On stride skill, not too sure which one to lock. Probably the starter if I want that. Locks the, okay, that's interesting. So locks the front row. I guess the reason why you do that is because you're gonna unlock it anyways. And then I know I have a dwarf here, maybe. Okay, I have no clue what I'm doing. I'm sorry, guys. So locks the, or I kind of do, but basically lock the. But I don't remember what my line of play was next. So lock the no, lock the front row. Yep. Okay. So basically, double lock the front row to mega lock it, and then just kind of go in a bit. So swing for 31 or 36, draw a card, unflip 2, omega lock the front, and now you have an 11k rear guard column. Crit boost, pretty good. And that grade 2 is very important. The Dusk Blade is not bad, but it doesn't really work here. And then the Black Dwarf is very, very, very strong. So unlock 1 and then draw a card because Alter Ego has the GB2 ability. So what does the Gear Chronicle player want to stride into this turn? You can actually stride into Chronos Command, it's not terrible. I believe he wants to stride into Metallica Phoenix here. Or no. So he wants to stride first into a Gear Dragon, which is Chronos Command, and try to use the on-stride skill, Chronojet G, to get like Pocker, but he realizes that he doesn't have the create elemental face up in his field, in his G zone to use it. So instead, he decides to go for Metallica Phoenix and use Pocker that way. Yep. So just waiting because he has to realize that. Yeah. So yeah, the Gear Chronicle player has mentioned and said sorry about his all his like doing certain plays and taking it back. Personally, we as OffTopicGames don't really care too much. Obviously, you guys should note that if this is a higher level tournament, like very higher level tournament, like regionals or something, generally taking back a lot of plays is not a very good thing to do, and I guess it always just depends on your opponent. But generally, in a higher level tournament, once you take back, it's like set. Or once you do a play, it's set, and you shouldn't take it back. But whatever. It's kind of like it's just a local, so we don't really care too much. Anyways, Metallica Phoenix swings for 26, calls out the Pocker, flips the Breeze, obviously. Soul Boss Ones grabs unlocks a rear guard. His placement was probably wrong. I would have just unlocked the one to the left, because 16 is better than 11. Hits trigger, hits the heal, and another heal, but the second one doesn't go off. So, Freezeray player also hits a heal, which is very strong. 5k guard. 10s it anyways. And then end phase, PG comes back, and then the Pocker goes back to the deck. So, Stride into another Flagellate on Stride skill. Lock the front row. Calls the Dwarf, the Black Dwarf. Draw trigger skill +3 to the Dwarf. Gets another Dwarf because Dwarf is broken, and you calls another whatchamacall? I forgot his name, but the Grade 1 Messiah. So the Grade 1 Messiah here is very, very strong. But I think I misplayed in calling that Messiah. That specific Grade 1. And then Heteron goes off because Heteron's good. He chooses the card on the side. Curious to see what comes out. So draw trigger comes out. That's kind of unfortunate, but it's whatever because you'll see that the power is quite big. So +5 and then +3 to the rear guard, which makes it, and +3 again. So +11, which means it's a 15 by itself. So now Flagellate swings. Counterblast 1, probably flip Amnesty and unlock the board. So it swings for 26 with crit, or 31 with crit, because of the on-stride skill. Now, this rear guard on the left is 16, and the rear guard on the right is a 22. But the power is going to change, and it's going to get higher. So we'll see where this goes. Vanguard swing with crit pressure. We'll see what the Gear Chronicle does. He decides to no guard. Heal goes off again. Very, very strong. And that's all. But it's good enough. So 2 damage hits the trigger. Boost cancel, so it's 21 to his 16, 10k guard. The rear guard is currently on the side is 22. He'll get +11 again, so it'll be 33. Yes. So 33 with a draw trigger, that's pretty nuts. And then, yep, so he takes the, that's interesting. Yep, so general combos are going off here. G guards into Uluru, or not. Rafana, okay, he was gonna Rafana it anyways. No, never mind, he's going to Uluru. Okay, so puts 2 cards back, that's fine. That was an interesting play here because Uluru only worked because you hit the Gear Chronicle player hit 2 triggers there, I think. So you should just Uluru the side and then the left side and then taken the bigger one. That's what I personally believe. So next, Gear Chronicle player strides into. Next stage doesn't really save you unless double crit or something nuts. What would you go into here? Combos don't really work. If you have a second Metallic Phoenix, you could go into it, or just a Gear Dragon to get the. If you have Soul, you Gear Dragon to get the get a card unlocked. They are both grade 3s. So, Gear Chronicle player strides. Probably Revolution is very strong, and I know he's gonna do it. So, strides into Revolution, uses the Revolution skill first to send everything back. Because he doesn't have Chrono, their OG Chronos command, his stuff goes back too, which is kind of important. And then he uses Chrono. No on stride skill. No on stride skill, that's interesting. But he could, if he wanted to, use then the on stride skill to call grade 1 and then time leap into it. Oh no, he's going to do it. Sorry, guys. It's just I assumed that he wasn't going to because of his hand movements, but he is. So I'm not too sure why he left the 2 cards on the side. On the bottom. I guess he just decides not to do it and leaves the cards on the bottom. So basically he decides not to do it. He already went through the deck. We just let him take it back. 2 cards on the bottom due to the Chronos command skills. Yeah. So that was what the shuffle was for. He decided not to do it after looking at the deck or whatever, and he just shuffled. Next is what is probably happening here. He's at 5. He has X amount of cards in hand. I believe the play here is the Excelix. Yeah, Excelix Messiah. Because I believe he has 7 cards in hand, and there's double arresters here, which makes it so that he has to guard for quite a bit. Calling a booster here kind of matters. I forget. Oh, the booster I had to call there would have been a trigger. So if I called it, it wouldn't hit the 21. Which means it's the same amount of guard technically if I didn't call the booster. In terms of cards, so see there, it's a trigger. So if I lock it and then unlock the lane, it doesn't become a 21. Unfortunately, I think it's a 20, which is awkward. Yep, 19. Sorry, if the lane gets unlocked. So yeah. Rearguard swings unboosted because the boost doesn't matter. And I'm not too sure if I want to use the trigger for putting the soul and drawing 1 or not yet. So, yeah. So 11k. And now I have to think about it. Doesn't do it, which means I probably will use it. Or actually, it doesn't matter. Because the number doesn't change with or not the locking itself. So lock the column, swing with Excelix. Have to counterblast and I guess I just forget. But counterblast and then flip Amnesty. And then I'm not too sure if I wanted to use the Crit skill, I decided not to, I believe, because I just wanted to push out as much advantage as possible. One's a 21 lane and one is 17. Or 16, sorry. Okay, so there I pay the cost. Yeah. So PG's the Vanguard, because I see a PG in his hand. Drive checks 3. Swings for 10k guard. And then swings for 15k guard. He has a G guard. So here, I don't know if this was a misplay or not, but if you had the extra soul and the extra Heteron in your G zone, you should have used the Heteron skill to bounce the arrestor previously so you don't get the extra attack. Again, it doesn't look like you have any souls, so that play it doesn't work, but it's possible you could have done it if you did have the soul. So just a note. So it goes into the next stage because the next stage is handy. Double crit wins here. That's pretty much it. Gear Chronicle player is very lacking in what he has. He does not run 4 Chronos commands, so that plays off the board. Probably the best play he can do is just use next stage and hope for like double crit and heals and stuff. So Link Joker player generally has this lockdown as long as he doesn't get double critted. Like he probably will, but you know, nah, we believe. So he's curious about calling a booster. Decides to. It's the TikTok. Swing 31. So I am the Freezeray player, right? And knowing that I can only lose to double crit, what I'm going to do, and I have to take at least one, I can't take both. What I want to do is minimize the chances to hit the triple crit or double crit. So I no pass his Vanguard. So that apparently he just hit nothing. So that's kind of unfortunate. Then I no pass it and he hit nothing. Then I have to take his Vanguard, but he only has 2 checks instead of 3. So that's why I did that there. So drive checks, still no crits, and then that's pretty much it. Yes, the rear guard's unlocked because I'm going for a game here and he's probably dead. Flagellate goes off one more time. And yeah, generally that's it. Like, your Chrono player has to take a lot of damage, and then even 6 damage shield doesn't save him. So yeah, we'll just see what it does. But thank you guys all for watching. Let us know if you like the commentary. We can do it a lot more in the future because we did have some problems with the copyright issues due to sound. So yeah, good game to both players. Thank you guys all for watching, and like, subscribe, check out our giveaway, and I'll see you all later.